Oh, there we go. Can everyone hear me now and see me? Okay, thanks, SoCal Seth. I didn't realize I didn't have the video. The video wasn't working. They've changed. That's the interesting thing with YouTube. They change the streaming services every now and then, and they've changed the format. So I was in a new window, and I didn't realize that I was. So could you hear me? You just couldn't see me. I guess people could hear me. That's crazy. So y'all didn't get to see Sean Coonery earlier. Let me get him back over here on camera. Hold on. Hey, Sean Coonery. Hey. The enormous Maine Coon cat. Yeah. Enormous. Can y'all hear me okay, or is the audio coming through? Whoa. Let's see. Okay, good. So you can hear me and you can see me. Good. Sorry about that, everybody. I had earlier I started the show and there was no audio and there was no video. Whoa. Do you ever get cracks in your Phantom 3 Pro? That's actually a great question. I've heard it a lot, and I never did. Now, keep in mind, before I flew my Phantom 3 Pro the first time, I installed quick disconnect prop guards. And you can find the ones that I use here. They come in a variety of different colors. Let me get the link. Let's see. So yeah, what I did before my initial Phantom 3 Pro flight is that I put those quick disconnect prop guards on. Now, my theory is that people that have reported the cracks in and it's right below the where the engines are on the Phantom 3 Pro, but that's where people were reporting to have experienced cracks. Now, I never encountered cracks with mine, but again, I had the quick disconnect prop guards on before the first flight. My theory is that if it has happened to people, my theory is that from the factory, the screws that held the body together, they were likely over-tightened. And by being over-tightened over time, it created stresses that caused the body of the Phantom 3 Pro to crack. But again, I've never experienced it, but I did have those quick disconnect prop guards on prior to the first flight, and that may have done a couple things. It may have eliminated the future stress from being over tightened from the factory, or it may have just better structurally reinforced the frame of the Phantom 3 Pro because it had the screws that I put through it that came with the quick disconnect prop guard. So yeah, it's interesting. So if anyone out here's had cracks in their Phantom 3 Pro, comment now, because I'll be curious to see if that's an issue that has affected people. I missed if you had any go-to spots in Nassau. Well, one place you're in Nassau, you're gonna want to take the ferry over to it's Paradise Island. It's just if you're in Nassau, you can literally take a ferry over to Paradise Island, and that's where the Atlantis Resort is, and it's definitely a cool place to to check out. Now, if you've got a lot of time there, what you may want to do is go to there's several neighboring islands of Nassau that you may want to check out. Oh, 4 cracks. Wow. So 4 cracks. Now, how quickly did your Phantom 3 Pro develop those cracks? Was it out of the box? Was it after a few flights? Ocean Club. Hey, that's a good idea. Yeah, well, have fun in Nassau. That ought to be that's a cool place. I have 4 cracks in my Phantom. So, did you ever install the quick disconnect prop guards on your Phantom 3 Pro? Or did you encounter these out of the box, or was it after a few flights, or when did you first notice them? I'm just curious. Within a few months. Yeah, well, that could go along with the theory that it's possibly created by, maybe they came from the factory and they were over tightened, because that might explain why the frame of the Phantom 3 Pro could have degraded over time. But again, with mine, I never ran into it. I would probably put, even if there's cracks here, I'd probably go ahead and put quick disconnect prop guards on it just to see if it might prolong the life of it. Yeah, if you're on a cruise and you're in Nassau, definitely go to Atlantis. That's what I would do. And check out what I would do ahead of time. I would get on a site like TripAdvisor or somewhere, and I would check out maybe a day pass to Atlantis, because they got really cool, like really cool swimming pools and all kinds of stuff to do. And you may be able to get a good deal on a day pass there. And then that way, if you go over, you can do a lot more than just check out the beach in front of it. But that's what I would definitely check out. If your Phantom 3 Pro drone updated, but the controller did not, with reference to the point of interest update, what can I do? What is my favorite filter to use? Talking about camera filters. Well, I do all my saturation adjustment within post, so I don't really use polarizers. But obviously, on all my cameras, I've got a UV filter which does basically nothing except protect the lens, and most of the time, that's all that I use is a UV filter. But in certain situations, I'll slap an ND filter, a neutral density filter, on it. But most of the time, I just, like right now on the A7R2, I've got the Batis or Batiste, however you want to say it, 25 millimeter, and then on it, I've got a UV filter. That's all I've got on it right now. But it's a high quality UV filter. It's a B&W, which I have not noticed it degrading the image quality, and it better prevents the possibility of me damaging my lens. Keeps dust off of it. But again, I do all saturation adjustment in post, so I don't use a polarizer filter, CPL filter. Have you ever lost a drone that was not recovered? Well, I'll tell you a story, and this was with the Phantom 2 Vision Plus. Now, I was flying the Phantom 2 Vision Plus, obviously in a safe and responsible location, and I was around a lot of trees, and I wanted to get some good footage of the trees up close, and it's one of those deals when you're flying. It's kind of, obviously, if you're in a safe and responsible location, it's a situation where it's risk and reward. If you don't take chances, you're not going to get the really cool shots. So I decided I was going to get closer to the trees, and sure enough, I lost my FPV, my first-person view display. Obviously, I was flying line of sight to be safe and responsible, and I knew where the drone was. But if you're ever dealing with flying a drone, sometimes depending upon your position and the drone's position, it's easy to misgauge a distance. So in this case, I didn't realize how close the tree was, so I ran into the tree, and the drone fell to the ground. And actually, the drone, I did get the drone back, but when it hit the tree hard enough to where the battery fell out. I never found the battery, so there's a battery somewhere in the woods. But yeah, that was pretty painful. But the good thing is that what I did with that particular drone, I sold the drone as is, indicating it had been crashed and this, that, and the other, and I actually got, a small amount of money for it. So it wasn't a total, had I lost the drone, it would have been a complete financial loss, but since I found the drone and I sold it as a broken drone, as is, I recovered some of that. Someone saying they read that Carnival Cruise Line will not let you bring a drone on board. Which cruise line do you use? Well, I've cruised with Carnival a lot in the past, but I've never taken my drone on a cruise. When I'm out, the videos that you see with me over the ocean and near boats and stuff like that, those are ones that I've filmed, but I was not on the cruise ship. I was elsewhere. So yeah, that's interesting that you say they banned it, which, it's kind of a bummer, because when you're dealing with responsible people that are taking it to enjoy while they're in port in a safe and responsible location, it's bad that you can't get it to and from there. What I would probably do if I was going on a cruise, I'd see if I could ship it. Maybe there's a way to ship it somewhere and then ship it back, and at least that way you've got it where you're going and you can enjoy it, and then send it back to your home. Have you found it easier to travel with a laptop to load your footage on as you go, or pack a lot of SD cards or portable storage drive? You know what, SoCal Seth? You have prompted a video idea, and I'm writing that down right now in my notes, sending it to myself, because that's a video that I'm going to put together step by step. But I'll go ahead and answer within this live show what my workflow is when I'm out on the road. Video workflow for travel. Let's see. Yep. So this is what I do when I've got a video idea, or somebody shares a video idea with me. I jot it down in my phone, and then that way it's on my to-do list. Because as you've noticed on my channel, I'm always creating new videos, and this is going to be a new video, but I'll go ahead and answer SoCal Seth's question right now. He said, have you found it easier to travel with a laptop to load your footage on as you go, or pack a lot of SD cards or a portable storage drive? Well, actually, I've done it several ways, and I like to have redundancy. So what I'll do is I'll take multiple SD cards, because obviously, they're super small, they're convenient, but they can be, especially when you're dealing with the ones that are 4K Ultra HD capable, they've got to have the faster read and write speeds. So with those, I don't take multiples of those, but what I do is I take, just a cheap generic. This is a 120. This one right here is a 128 gig, 150 meg per second. So this is a 4K capable one. This is an expensive one. But what I'll do is I'll take a cheap one that's 128 gig, and once I return to my laptop, then I'll make a copy of it. So I've got, the expensive 128 fast SD card that I use in my 4K camera, but then I've got a slow El Cheapo one that I back up the video to. So then, when I'm out in the field, from the first day or whatever, I've stored that footage on a card that's back in the boat or the house or the hotel or whatever, so that I've got a backup. If my camera's lost or stolen or damaged, I'm not going to lose all my footage. But daily, what I do is I take all my footage on my laptop, I back that up, so I've got, SD card to SD card backup for each day. Then I also have Final Cut Pro 10 on my MacBook Pro, and I have to your point, I have an external USB. I think I can show you the drive that I use. Let me get a link to that. But it's a bus powered USB 3.0 hard drive, meaning that I don't have to carry a power adapter with it. It receives its power from the MacBook Pro's USB port. So it's lighter, it's smaller, it's more convenient to travel with. And this is the drive that I currently use. I'm about to send a link over to everyone here. So yeah, just look at the comments section there. So that's the travel hard drive that I use, and it works great because it's large enough to where I can download everything to it. And I download it within Final Cut Pro 10, so I create a new library within Final Cut Pro 10 on the MacBook Pro on that external hard drive that I just linked there. And once I do that, then I've got day by day within Final Cut Pro 10 the project. So it'll be like day 1 A7R2 camera, day 2 DJI Phantom 4 camera, so forth and so on. So I've got it broken down by camera, I've got it broken down by day, and I've got it on the external hard drive. And then when I return to the studio, since it's all on that external hard drive, I can just copy that Final Cut Pro 10 library over to my large network attached storage in my studio, and everything's already organized, named, and it's good to go. But should that hard drive fail, or should it get stolen or damaged, I've also got a backup of video day by day on inexpensive backups. Again, not the fast read and write SD cards, but the El Cheapos that are the same size, so that I can have that. Redundancy is key, because you don't want to lose. When you get videos and photos, it's painful if you lose it. Do you use the Litchi app? I do not. Do you use the Litchi app? Have you ever had issues bringing your drone through airports and customs? Well, I wouldn't call it issues, but I will explain some things that have happened. So one time, there was a situation where and I didn't realize what was going on, but I went through the international area of an airport, and like, sir, is there something in your bag? And I'm like, well, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of cameras, a lot of batteries, and this, that, and the other. And they're like, well, can we take a look at it? And yeah, no problem. I mean, it's whatever you want to do. So they opened the bag, and sure enough, one of those batteries in the backpack in my carry-on, the button had been depressed. And when you do that with a Phantom battery, it starts to light up, indicating the battery charge remaining. So they saw that flashing in the bag, and it sparked their curiosity. It wasn't a problem. I mean, it was obviously an inconvenience because I was held up in customs while they checked that out. Another time I was held up in customs was, and this was when drones first came out, but it was, and part of it I think is because they were so new that a lot of people, especially in a lot of countries that I travel through, they have never seen technology like that. So part of it had to do with that, and the other part had to do with, well, it was just strange. So it's traveling with a buddy of mine that also had a drone, and we had made it through customs, and then the waterproof and ruggedized cases that we use, they have pressure release valves. So we made it through customs, like, and I can't do the foreign accent, but I'll try. But hey, sir, you got what you got in those cases, or something like that. And we said, drones. What's that? And they took it over this table, and obviously when we set it on the table, and we've been in an airplane for about 6-7 hours, and set it on the table, and when they opened it, because they don't want you to open it, they want to open it. When they open it, the first thing it starts doing is hissing. It's like, sss, and that's because of the pressure release valve. So they kind of freaked out. And then, we were just talking to him. It's like, is there anything in here we should be worried about? No, it's just a drone. Well, why is it hissing? Well, it's a pressure release valve. It's been up in an airplane for about 7 hours. And it was an awkward moment, but it was funny at the end because they kind of got a laugh out of it too. I mean, a lot of people bash the customs people and this, that, and the other, but they're just people doing what they're supposed to do, So it was, those are the two incidents that I've had going through customs with my drone. But now, an incident I didn't encounter, but I had a friend encounter, was they were walking through an airport, but they took the drone in their carry-on. And again, I would not recommend that. So when they were in the airport, between their two destinations, they had a layover, and they had the drone in the terminal with them. And they were actually pulled aside, pulled into a room, and searched and questioned why they had a drone. And that's not the reason I check. I always check my drone below the plane, but always carry my batteries in my carry-on. And again, check, with your country, with the current regulations there, because they'll be able to tell you what the travel with drone laws are and are not. So, but that's how I've done it. I mean, obviously making sure that everything was that everything I was doing was up to the law, in those areas. Your yellow case for your Phantom 4, how many batteries can it hold? Let me get a link to that. Just a second here. Actually, I've got the case right over here too. But I'm going to get everyone a link so everybody can see it here. Okay, so the case that John is referring to is this case. And it comes in other colors too. But that's my Phantom 4 case. You can find it there. It's the second item listed. And let me get it here, and I'll show everybody. Yep, so this case, it's got latches on all the sides. So how many batteries will it hold? Your question's about to be answered. So there's one battery right there. So it's got that slot, 2, 3, 4, plus 1 in the drone, so 5 batteries. Then also you've got these slots up here. Those aren't big enough for the Phantom 4 battery. But you can see a very roomy case, plenty of room, and I've even got over here, I've got my quick disconnect prop guards for my Phantom 4. My Phantom 4 is not in here right now, it's in the other room. Oh, and how about this? Phantom 4 car charger. If you haven't checked that out, you can find it on the same page where I sent the link to the case. On 400orbelow.com. But what's really cool is how this thing latches up like this. So you can just really get a good secure way to transport it. And be sure to check out the shoulder strap too. Because the shoulder strap, and it's separate, but you can find it. It's the third item that I linked on that link on 400orbelow.com. But it makes everything more comfortable when you're carrying it. Yeah, the styrofoam case that the Phantom 4 comes in, I wouldn't trust it either. I mean, it's a glorified, I've referred to it as glorified steak cooler. Looks like something someone may receive mail order steaks in. It's small. I mean, from that perspective, it's nice, but obviously I wouldn't get it near, any sort of rugged environment or water or anything along those lines, because it would not, it definitely would not protect your Phantom 4. Have you heard of the Walkera Voyager 3? Let me see. I've heard of Walkera, but I've not heard of that one. I'm looking it up right now. And I'm going to get a link here so everybody can see. The reviews are kind of questionable. Yeah, I'll add a link to it on 400orbelow.com so everyone can see it here in a little bit. Yeah, it kind of does look like an Inspire. Honestly, I don't know. My favorite drone is the Phantom 4, and on a budget, the Phantom 3 Pro. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat the size and camera performance of those two drones. How long does a car charger take to charge? Referring to the Phantom 4 car charger. I've never timed it, but typically if I'm on the road for an hour, it's typically charged. But I never fly my batteries down to to no battery remaining. Usually I fly them down to about 30%. So I don't know. I have to time it and see. Personally, I only travel with my GoPro and Sony point and shoot. I've gotten into the habit of only doing carry bags. Depending on the situation, I can get multiple weeks out of a duffel bag. Yeah, it's always good to travel light. What's disappointing though is that when you're at that final destination, if you wanted to have something and you don't have it in your bag, but that's a small complaint, I guess. Let's see, how old is Sean Connery? Sean Connery is about 7 years old. He's getting old. Have you heard of ZenMuse XT by DJI? I have. That's the fancy camera, isn't it? The more expensive. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, that's the camera that does RAW. Yeah, have you had any experience with it? I've never tried it. Have a good one, John. Thanks for tuning in to the live show. $10,000. Yeah, that's a little bit too much for a camera on the ground, especially a camera that's flying around in the sky. I don't care how much money someone has. That's a lot. I mean, honestly, I couldn't imagine. I mean, the camera that's on the Phantom 3 Pro is quite spectacular, and obviously the Phantom 4. I couldn't see the need to have a more. I mean, even if cost was the same, I don't know. Yeah, so I apologize for when I started the show, I didn't have any video or audio. That was crazy. I'm still trying to figure out this new streaming app, because right now this is just in the computer, and I want to get my green screen set back up. It's something I've been working on, but well, I can understand businesses needing $10,000 cameras, but then again, would they need them, or would it be more of a business want? I mean, someone can go out and buy a camera that's $1,000, and if they know how to use it, they can get really good results. And if someone needs pro, I mean, they can go out and for $3,000 or $4,000, someone can get a camera that's probably more high end than they would ever need. So yeah, $10,000 that's crazy. I don't understand that. Welcome aboard, Tack. Do you ever design or program your own drones? I never have. I think it would be a cool hobby. I know that DJI's just started. You can obviously buy the components, and if you have the skills, you could build your own drone. But I've never tried it. Have you had any experience with building a drone? Is there a timeline for when you're starting the vlog type videos? Well, actually, I do a lot of videos where I just kind of get face on camera and say stuff. I'm not a fan of the vlog or the vlog, however you want to say it. And it's just because I think and a lot of people like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that enjoy the the vlogging format, but and a good example is someone that's done exceptionally well with the vlogging format is Casey Neistat. And I was in New York, and I actually reached out to Casey, but he never responded. I was going to do a YouTube collab video, but yeah, he never responded to me. But I'm not personally a big fan of that video format. I like to be more thorough, and keep in mind on my channel, it's not just I'm not here to push out content. I'm not here to push out a summarized message in video format. That's just not my style. I'll ramble on. I'll do whatever I want to do, just because for me, YouTube is a way to, and it has always been and always will be. It's just a way to relax and have fun and learn something here and there. So it's let's see, I just had a message come in here. I got to check my cell phone. I apologize for the inconvenience. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Do y'all like the vlog, the VLOG video format, the vlogging format, or do you think it's not worth it? What do y'all think? Well, let's see. I'm having some connectivity issues. My internet, looking at my switch over here, it's kind of going crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this live show. But thanks for joining in. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. YouTube.com/IrixGuy. And when you subscribe, then you'll know when I'm having live shows, because you'll get a notification. So they say yes, they like the vlog, however you want to say it, VLOG style format. Well, cool. Maybe I'll play with some vlog style format. And thanks everyone for dialing in. Y'all have a good day or good evening, wherever you are in the world. And I'm going to go ahead and conclude this show. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day.